Now, a First Alert Weather Breakdown. First Alert Weather Day Special Edition with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Good morning. Welcome into the start of your First Alert Weather Day. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Evan Thomason here in the Weather Center. There's a lot to get to here for the day today. Just take a deep breath and let's get it done here across the next several days. Unfortunately, it's a weekend full of wintry precip all around the Arklatex. I want to thank those of you watching from our Facebook live stream. We've been on Facebook all work week long, and it's finally here for today. It is not here currently at this very moment, but I'm saying probably I'm going to watch out for storms to come into the region probably in about 6 hours or so. That's kind of how much time you have left to get any last-minute preparations done before storms start coming in essentially in the late afternoon hours, start filling up a good portion of the Arklatex with about half mixed precip and half rain just from the late afternoon hours and for tonight before pretty much the majority of the precipitation then becomes the ice, the freezing rain, and the sleet first thing tomorrow morning. So the First Alert Weather Day only goes for late afternoon hours and for tonight only. And it's only for those of you in the northern half of the Arklatex too. Just for today alone. I think if you're along the I-20 corridor southward, you're fine throughout Friday, even for Friday night festivities. I think you're okay as long as you're not staying out too late tonight, because it starts in the overnight hours. That freezing line starts to creep farther and farther southward to where we're bringing in more chances of mixed precipitation farther and farther and southward as the overnight commences. And by the time you wake up on Saturday morning, freezing rain is pretty much in the majority of the Arklatex. The only exception to that here for tomorrow might be Natchitoches and Nacogdoches. That's kind of the big question mark. But the rest of the region, it's pretty much just mixed precip again. First thing tomorrow morning, all day long Saturday, and for the first half of Sunday. That's the schedule. But overall, today is the first of 4 consecutive First Alert Weather Days. Yes, this is going to be a whole marathon to get through, but it has finally arrived on our doorstep. Let's get this rid of. Let's get it done. We've been prepping over the past couple of days, and now it's time, essentially. Today is, again, technically the last day before the actual system comes on in late this afternoon, but hope you're ready. Hopefully, we've been able to give you the constant updates here at KSLA News 12, and man, we've prepared you over the past couple of days. We're going to prepare you with this forecast again here right now. But we're gonna give you constant updates while this is obviously going along too. Just so you know as well, for the schedule here for the weekend, meteorologist wise, on meteorology standpoint, meteorologist CJ Cartledge and Jake Lambright will be in-house in the studio, I believe, all weekend long. Meteorologist Matt Jones and I will provide remote updates from wherever we're at in for the Arklatex on our social media page, but you won't see either of us on the TV itself, I believe. I think Matt might come in. But anyways, the point is, all 4 of the meteorologists here at KSLA News 12 will be on tap and ready to go and keeping you weather aware here throughout this weekend here at KSLA News 12. So again, want to welcome those of you on, especially on to those of you watching on our KSLA.com live stream, on our YouTube page, and on our Facebook as well. See, we have a good amount of you on Facebook too. Shout out to Lewis. Thank you very much for watching from Texarkana. I'm going to get to questions in just a little bit. And hello, Andrew, from the OWN Newsroom. Hey, it's good to watch a good weather update, even if you're a reporter here at KSLA News 12. How about that? Anyways, let's get into what we are looking at. So essentially, the rundown of this First Alert Weather Breakdown, especially on a First Alert Weather Day, is just going to be looking only at this. But we're essentially going to look at the full weather forecast first. I have lots and lots and lots of graphics to share with you all, revolving around any kind of aspect between the timing, the threats, what are we watching out for, when is it going to be done, when does it start, all those details and more for own specific locations around the Arklatex too. We're going to go over that thoroughly in the full weather forecast and the full graphic rundown. Then we're going to go to the 7-day forecast. That'll be the last graphic. Then we'll take a commercial break, and then I will do nothing but answer viewer questions after that, because I like to do it that way anyways, because sometimes I answer your question during the full forecast, so to speak. So hang tight if you have a specific question. I will answer those specifically and look at the chats for Facebook and YouTube in just a little bit. All right, let's get into it. Again, today's today. let's get this rolling. Let's get it done. And I will say, when it comes to storms like these, obviously sometimes they can be, yes, historic, and this one might just be. But we can revolve. We can get through it as a community together. I believe in us in the Arklatex here. And we're just keeping you up to date with the latest weather information. All right. So, again, as mentioned, today is the first of 4 consecutive first alert weather days. Today, tomorrow for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday are all included underneath first alert weather days where you want to stay weather aware. Here is the full overall rundown of what's going to happen each of those 4 days. Here for today, it's mainly about watching mixed precipitation again late this afternoon and into tonight. Nothing is on the radar right now. It's a complete blank slate and should be that way still for the next 4 to 6 hours around the Arklatex. We're going to in specific timing just a little bit. But again, it's not going to happen until way later today. Here for your Saturday. This is kind of the main bullseye day if you had to pick a day for mixed precip happening all day long. That is going to be Saturday from the morning hours all the way until night. You're dealing with mixed showers pretty much all day through the majority of the Arklatex. Keep in mind tonight's mixed precipitation is mainly going to be just only for the northern half of the region while the southern half gets rain. Then for Sunday morning, all of us get in on the mixed precipitation, but only for the morning hours. We're expecting everybody to collectively dry out kind of almost at the same time, somewhere around the late morning hours or the early afternoon hours of Sunday. It's going to be either or. Sometime around that time frame, around the middle of the day Sunday, things are finally going to dry out. But that's not the end of our first alert weather days. I know what you're thinking. Why? Well, we have sunshine abundant here for your Monday, but here's the problem. In order to get all of our mixed precipitation that falls, in order to get that gone and out of here, it needs to melt away. In order for it to melt away, we need temperatures warm enough. Guess what's coming immediately after the precipitation comes? A cold blast. That's especially going to come into fruition here for Sunday night and throughout the day Monday. So Monday is the first alert weather day, mainly due to just how cold it is. And this combo of that and the fact that mixed precipitation is going to stay on the ground. It's not going to melt away. It still makes travel incredibly hazardous here for you, and you're going to watch out for your Monday festivities. You're still going to want to stay at home, essentially, here for your Monday. So here's an overall basis of what's going to happen here over the weekend with our winter weather impacts, again, between Friday night all the way at least through Sunday. We're mainly watching out for the freezing rain. That is the overall gist of the precipitation type we're watching out for. The freezing rain, the ice, and the sleet. It's everything in between snow and rain, which we are getting a little bit of, but not a lot of. Both freezing or both snow and rain. Talk about more of that later, but all this forecast really revolves around the freezing rain and the ice, because that's the majority of the precipitation that's going to be falling here across the bulk of the Arklatex here through the weekend. It is especially heaviest in areas along and north of I-20. That includes Shreveport, that includes Texarkana as well. That's going to provide very difficult travel and, unfortunately, power outages. That's the 2 things to watch out for that our news department especially is going to keep you aware about through the weekend and keep you in tune with our app notifications on your phone. If you don't have the KSLA News 12 app, it's a great tool to have. It'll help keep you alert and keep you giving you the info that you need to know here through the weekend. After all the precipitation comes on through, we are not done with the event. As just stated, Monday is the first alert weather day, especially due to extreme cold packing in behind the system, which provides, yes, single digits and teens. We are getting that cold here, especially between Sunday night and Monday morning, where some of the wind chills could be down below 0. Yes, into the negatives. More on that later. We're going to get into some more specifics later. We do have a winter storm warning in effect. This got issued pretty much around this time yesterday. This is in effect for the bulk of the Arklatex here for you. The winter storm watch is pretty much only in effect for those along the southern edge of the Arklatex here for you. The warning essentially means we are definitely expecting mixed precipitation throughout these areas. That's going to be the bulk of what the precipitation is. Now, if you live in the southern edge of the Arklatex, Natchitoches, over to Nacogdoches, I'm expecting a good combo between rain and freezing rain. Freezing rain isn't as likely to be the precipitation type in those areas, but it's still expected to happen, and we're watching out for it, essentially. But again, we have the warning in place for everybody else because the mixed precipitation is definitely happening in those spots. Before we get into even more specifics, let's talk about the science of how this is happening here really quickly before we get into more specific details in the future track. This is a really incredible system, obviously kind of a historic winter storm, honestly, in the making here, because we have a combination of things happening, mainly three main things. We have a high-pressure system coming out of the north. In fact, the satellite is tracking onto bitter cold temperatures. Some of this is not even cloud cover. Some of this is just ground temperatures being absolutely brutally cold out of the north end of the United States. This is racing down here southward. It's a combination of that coming south, clashing with this low pressure, the moisture coming off of this low pressure system, which essentially is fueling and forcing the precipitation from the Pacific Ocean. This is forcing all this moisture to come onshore, move up northeast. That's also moving to the Arclitex. In addition to that, we also have moisture coming out of the Gulf. Essentially, it's a three-way clash between each of those systems that's just making it for the right recipe in the Arclitex to give us not only any type of precipitation and all the moisture, which is coming from the Pacific Ocean and the Gulf, but it's the cold air out of the north, which makes it the winter precip here for this kind of situation. Future track. Let's get into the timing. If you're getting anything during the day today, it's a stray rain shower only. Do want to stress that first and foremost. You'll start to see a lot more rainy pictures out in the afternoon hours out towards Dallas and Fort Worth if you're going and traveling out for Friday afternoon, last minute before this actually comes on in. Once we get into the afternoon hours, this is when it starts, pretty much 4 or 5 o'clock. It could start again with rain. Starts at the very, very beginning with rain around the afternoon and evening commutes home. You'll see that especially along the I-20 corridor, but you'll start to see that mixed precipitation line begin to crawl farther southward as we get into around 6, 7 o'clock here for your Friday. That's when we pretty much got the entire I-30 corridor and northward covered under the mixed precipitation. Notice how below that, we still have nothing but rain in spots just to the north side of Shreveport and the I-20 corridor. And the I-20 corridor itself looks like it's still free of all that mixed precipitation all the way through Friday night. This is why I said I think through Friday night you should be okay. And to be fair, this is an aggressive future track. And what I mean by an aggressive future track, this one in particular, I have another one to show you that's a little more I wouldn't say lenient, but a little more on the consensus of what the weather models are getting at. This is kind of worst-case scenario future track, honestly, which is pinpointing to, again, the freezing rain hopefully being on the northern end of Shreveport all the way through Friday night. It's not until we get, again, into the overnight hours, Friday into Saturday early morning, you'll start to see that change over into frozen precip here for the I-20 corridor while it continues to absolutely pour sleet, freezing rain, ice continually into the overnight hours all across areas around Texarkana here for you. One of the things I really don't care for about this future track, not going to lie, is that it says we're getting frozen precip around Natchitoches and Nacogdoches on Saturday morning. That could be a slim chance of that happening. Again, that's worst case scenario. But personally, most future tracks have been tracking onto only rain from areas just, again, only from Nacogdoches to Natchitoches. I think the rest of the region, including Panola counties, for example, DeSoto Parish, Red River Parish, those kind of counties and parishes that are just below the I-20 corridor, I still think those areas do get in on the mixed precip on Saturday, but I'm holding out until Sunday for the southern edge of the Arclitex to get all the bits of mixed precipitation. I'm kind of just going slowly in time here. Looks like, yes, we do get a few breaks from this mixed precipitation, but it's still consistent lines coming on through the Arclitex here between again, Friday night all the way through Sunday morning. This one has all the mixed precip kind of ending around midday Sunday. Still some cloud cover in the afternoon, and hopefully getting some clear skies Monday morning, leading into some sunshine Monday during the day to help us on our first day of recovery just a little bit. Again, that's the first future track. Here's the second one, which you can kind of use as a basis of confirming what you thought was going to happen again. This future track also, Friday night. Again, everything's in the northern half of the Arklatex only. That's what both future tracks agree on, keeping all of the mixed precip out of the I-20 corridor still through Friday late tonight. You want to maybe have a date night today, go out to dinner tonight in Shreveport, Marshall, Minden. For tonight only, I think you're okay. Texarkana, no. Again, Texarkana after work and after school today, in just the next few hours, you need to go home and you need to be at home here for tonight. Essentially, again, what I'm trying to get at is Friday night plans are still okay for areas along and south of the I-20 corridor. It's once you wake up on Saturday morning that pretty much everybody's going to be feeling the areas of the frozen precip. You see, by 8 a.m. Saturday, that frozen precip line is covering, again, areas like Panola County, DeSoto Parish, Red River Parish. But still, if you notice, starting Monday morning and continuing throughout the day Saturday, and this is what most of the weather models are stating, rounds of rain going through the southern edge of the Arklatex throughout the day tomorrow, and only rain. But I will stress that once we get into Sunday morning, that provides the mixed precipitation for everybody around the region, and then we all collectively dry out once we get into Sunday midday. I will notice as well, make you notice this as well, there is technically the briefest chance, this will be only on the very tail end of the system, there is technically a brief chance of snow at the very, very end of it only. But again, keep in mind, this would be, if snow were to fall, it would be falling on top of lots of ice still out and around there, which still makes it incredibly dangerous. So I know if you want to have a snowball fight, maybe, but again, the ice is still going to be there, and that's the biggest issue for us over the next couple of days. So let's go over when is mixed precip expected to show up on your own doorstep. Friday night. Areas along and north of the I-30 corridor. Saturday morning, by Saturday morning as well, once you're waking up Saturday morning, mixed precip shows up in areas in between I-20 and I-30, including the I-20 corridor, including Shreveport, Marshall, Minden, those kind of areas. And then the line kind of stagnates a little bit through the day on Saturday. But certainly by Sunday morning, I'm expecting Nacogdoches and Natchitoches to definitely be included for a brief round of mixed precipitation in those areas. So that's why the southern edge of the Arklatex, again, deals with rain mostly for tonight and through tomorrow. But it's definitely going to be turning into that ice snow mix still, even for you guys down by Natchitoches and Nacogdoches, for Sunday morning. Sunday morning is kind of your bullseye to watch out for that mixed precip coming on through. While the bulk of the Arklatex hangs on with it, again, all weekend long. And the biggest thing we're watching out for, again, is ice accumulating above a half inch. If it's above a half inch, it's heavy enough. That's the worst of problems. It's heavy enough to be able to cause power outages and thick enough to be able to be pretty much widespread on roadways to make roadways, unfortunately, impassable. It's just going to be extremely hard for cars, trucks, whatever, to travel out on roadways. Imagine your vehicle on an ice skating rink. That's essentially what it's going to be. You don't want to do that. You just don't. Snow is, again, possible anywhere. I do want to stress that out by these totals. This is possible anywhere around the Arklatex. 1 inch to 3 inches of snow still could happen anywhere across the region here for you. So that's kind of what's happening with the precipitation aspect, which, again, happens between today and tonight specifically. It goes through Saturday and goes through the first half of Sunday. But we have first alert weather days, again, intact through Monday. Monday, there's no precipitation happening on that day. It should be a completely dry day. Yet, we still have a first alert weather day, half because of this extreme cold watch that is in effect from Sunday evening when the precipitation is gone all the way through Tuesday morning. Extreme cold watch. I've used this probably and emphasized this many times on forecasts before. The coldest air of the season. Well, this time, I mean it. And this will most likely be the coldest air I think that we see all season long here for you. Let's go over some numbers here, shall we? For highs, we have high temperatures only in the 20s through the weekend, including Sunday afternoon, even when the precipitation is gone. Monday afternoon, it does not get much better. Maybe just a tiny bit better, but not much better. Highs in the mid-30s only on Monday. It's not really until Tuesday and Wednesday that we start to see some actual good progression to where we get temperatures well above the freezing mark to be able to help us recover and help us melt away the mixed precipitation and the winter precipitation that falls throughout the weekend. Keep in mind, that's high temperatures. Morning temperatures starting tomorrow are going to be brutal. You woke up into 40s and lower 50s this morning. We're not seeing that anytime soon for any morning close to now. You're getting down to 20s in through the weekend itself, but once you turn the page into Monday and Tuesday morning, down to the teens they will go. And before finally morning temperatures start to really warm up beginning on Wednesday and heading into Thursday next week. In fact, these are the actual temperatures, low temperatures here for Monday morning. Again, teens, single digits are possible in the northern end of the Arctic. That's the actual temperatures. Feels like temperatures could be well down below that, around 0 for many spots. Single digits across northwest Louisiana for feels like temperatures down in below 0 across some of our East Texas counties, and for the northern end of the Arctic, it's going to be frigid. Again, this is Monday morning after the storms cross on by. So you still got to deal with the extreme cold, even after all the bits of ice and snow come on through here throughout the Arctic here for you. So just, again, another thing to deal with. To summarize, let's go over the forecast for each and every place around the Arctic, and I'll go ahead and hide myself here so you can see the full screen. For Texarkana, today's First Alert Weather Day is mainly for you. You are getting the mixed precip here tonight. You are getting it through the day tomorrow, and you are getting it Sunday morning. You will not be getting much rain really at all into spots in the northern end of the Arctic. It's mainly just consistent round of mixed precipitation and maybe the tiniest chance of snow on Sunday morning. Then heading on into Shreveport. I think Friday night is still fine. I think that's okay. I think you're still good to go if you have any dinner plans for tonight, for example. I think you're okay as long as you are not going north of the I-20 corridor here for you. It's once you wake up on Saturday morning, you better be stuck in place. Again, that freezing line is going to be coming through Shreveport in the overnight hours between Friday and Saturday to provide the mixed precipitation first thing in the morning on Saturday, and it's going to go all day long on Saturday, still giving us mixed precip all the way through Sunday morning. Then, lastly, if you're down around Natchitoches, I'm expecting not only a rainy night tonight, but a rainy day for Saturday. I think you might still be able to travel out and around on Saturday. Now, do I advise it? No, the freezing line is going to be close, and regardless, if you go out on Saturday, it's going to be consistent rounds of rain, so it's not even going to be a good day to get out and do anything regardless. Sunday morning is kind of your bullseye. You still have a chance for mixed precipitation over in Natchitoches on Sunday morning, so I'd still watch out for that alone. Overall, here's the full schedule. Again, you're getting the winter mix starting tonight. It's going all day long through Saturday, pretty much the majority of the Arctic here, beginning tomorrow morning. Then it continues to roll through the Arctic through the entire region here for Sunday morning, and even Monday as the First Alert Weather Day. Again, today is First Alert Weather Day for the mixed precip. That continues. Another First Alert Weather Day tomorrow, another one on Sunday, and then we still have yet another First Alert Weather Day on Monday. Even though it will be dry, it will be very brutally cold, especially in the morning hours. And even with the afternoon getting sunny and the day getting sunny there on Monday, that mixed precipitation is going to be still frozen to all those roadways. So we want you to stay weather aware and please careful, even for Monday of next week. So the weekend, obviously, a wacky one. If it's going to be dry at all, it would be Sunday afternoon. But even then, please do not go out and about across the weekend, especially highs only in the 20s. I have had people ask me questions about when to walk pets, maybe dogs, those furry animals. Just take breaks when you can. There's going to be breaks in the weather across the weekend. You're not going to be able to avoid the ice, especially if you're walking them on Saturday and Sunday. Just be incredibly careful and take your dry breaks when you can. Full 7-day forecast now. Heading on into next 4 days. Again, those are your First Alert Weather Days. Then starting on Tuesday afternoon, again, it's not really until Tuesday afternoon do we finally start getting things a lot better with highs in the 40s and 50s here through the middle of the week. Still some cold mornings, but definitely not as cold as Monday and Tuesday morning, certainly. And then I will say eventually, I do have to mention this as well past the 7-day forecast. Technically, I will mention this real quick right now to keep you the first alert on this because I know there's been some speculation about this. We have the tiniest chance of another winter system, a separate one, coming in next weekend. Not this coming weekend, the following weekend. A little chance. I've been looking at some weather models on the side just in the little time that I've had outside of looking, at everything over this coming weekend. There is, yes, the tiniest chance of maybe snow coming, again, not this weekend, next weekend. We will keep you first alert about that next week. I still am expecting to go back to the 7-day forecast. I am still expecting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to at least be completely dry, same as Monday. That is a 4-day period where we should hopefully be recovered from this system before even dealing with the next one that will happen again the following weekend. So, that's a full check of your forecast. Oh, man, that was 20, 25 minutes. Hopefully, I gave you all the details you need to know. If it didn't, I'm still going to be sticking around and answering questions just after a quick commercial break and after I take a little water break, so to speak. I'll be on for another 15, 20, 30 minutes, however so, to just answer your questions only. That's what I'm essentially going to do only after taking a quick commercial break. Stick around. I know for those of you who've been patient and already asking questions on Facebook and YouTube, I will get to them after this. Hang tight. Welcome back to the first Start with a Breakdown. Again, lots of details, lots of everything surrounding this. Hopefully I went over everything. Hopefully we got a basis of everything. But in case not, I'm going to go over Facebook comments right now. Hold up really quick. Before I do that, let me look at YouTube. YouTube, no questions on our YouTube page. I just know we have a lot more activity on Facebook, so I figured I'd look at YouTube first to see if I missed a question or two. But I did not. We got a lot of comments, though, of course, on our Facebook stream rolling. Before, one last thing, final thing before I get to that. Just, in the background, while I answer these questions, I'll leave a weather background on the whole time in case you're just looking for generic information. This graphic kind of summarizes kind of everything in a nutshell. It's the arrival mixed precip, which is the whole basis of why we have consecutive first alert weather days rolling on through. Again, those times show where can you expect the mixed precip to arrive in your location. Here's the thing. Once it arrives in your location, you're stuck with the mixed precip until we all collectively end the precipitation Sunday, midday. All right, so for example, Shreveport is getting constant rounds of mixed precip starting Saturday morning and going all the way through Sunday midday. All right, cool. Questions? Monica says, thank you. That's the last question I see from 20 minutes ago comment. If you just, that's as far as I can go up with the comments. If you want to re-ask your questions, and if I don't get to them, feel free to re-ask them in the comment section, and I will get to them. All right. Let's see. Amanda says it's going to start as rain and transition to sleet and freezing rain and chance of snow at the very tail end of Sunday. You got it. Perfect. All right. Cameron says you can feel the weather changing. Yes. Yes, you can. It's starting to get a little windy. A little windy out and around there. Okay. Let's see here. Josh says I'm going to bring my horse inside. Might be a good idea. Chantel, it's been warm the past 2 days. Yes, it has. The warm air is part of what's kind of fueling up these storms in a way in through the Arklatex. It's warm both at the surface and aloft right now. What's happening across the weekend, starting tonight, is that cold air comes in at the surface, but we still have warm air aloft that's going over it that still contains all of the moisture, and that's going to fall still down into the Arklatex. And the very cold air at the surface through the weekend turns that precipitation into ice, to sleet, to freezing rain, and to snow. So, Monica says, I hope we don't get any bad weather. Unfortunately, it's a little late for that. We are confirmed to we are confirmed to get all this mixed precipitation and the snow. Michelle, I saw another system coming in next weekend, snow/freezing rain. Is it true? Yes, it is true. As mentioned before the break, again, it's a little chance. Let me show you. I have one graphic on this because, again, let's get through one hurdle. My idea is always get through one hurdle first before looking at the next one. But yes, we always want to keep you first alert about anything coming up on the horizon. This is the full 12-day forecast. I got to hide myself so you can see the full thing here. Again, we still have that full break for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Plenty of sunshine to help give us a nice recovery from the system we're at now. But here's the thing. If you go in the thorough 12-day forecast, you'll see a snowy icon on Friday of next week. That could happen Friday. I've also seen that could happen on Saturday again, this is next weekend. This is not today and tomorrow. This is a completely separate system. A little chance of snow. The only other thing I will add to this before we go back into our own first alert weather days that are closer to us, the only other thing I will say about this little snow chance there for next Friday is I've actually seen the weather model starting to downplay it a little bit, which means it would lower the chance for us to actually get that precipitation at the end of next week. A lot of question marks around it. I'm not sure if it's going to happen yet. I'm not completely sold that it's going to happen yet, but we'll see, and we'll keep you first alert, especially getting closer to that time frame. Watch out for it, yes. Yes, it is still there. It is a chance for winter precipitation next weekend again, but it's just a chance, and again, I'm not completely sold on it at all. So that's what I will say to you about that. All right. Let's see here. Carla, and I need to be at work. Well, hopefully you can get out of work. Maybe we'll see. Hopefully you don't have to go into work in these conditions. That will be incredibly hazardous here for you around the region here for you. So please be careful. Please be careful. All right. Let's see here. What other questions? Just reading over questions. Melinda, great job. Thank you. Love the science explanations too. Absolutely. You're welcome. Again, I kind of went into this earlier, but yeah, it's the combination of 3 different air masses colliding at the same time that makes it for this entire splatter of freezing rain mix and all this, which is throughout the Arklatex here over the weekend. All right. Milani, is every area expected power outages or are more areas at risk? That is a great question. I believe any area that has any chance of frozen precipitation has the chance to get power outages here over the weekend. Just so you know, all it takes The frequent measurement for ice on power lines to be able to cause the power lines to either fall down or crumble, it's essentially the weight of ice. All you need is a half an inch. And I want to show you, for your question specifically, if I can find it. I didn't use it in my graphics here today, but give me 2 seconds, and I will. There it is. So here's the amount of ice that we're expecting here across the weekend. By the end of Sunday, look at everywhere. Everybody has pretty much got either at or above a half inch of ice, which is not good for power outages. So that what makes them pretty much likely across the entire Arklatex, sadly. So unfortunately, it's likely across all areas of the region here for you. Thanks for your updates, says Ali. Sabine Parish expectations. So using this kind of map again for Sabine Parish, you guys would get rain here tonight. Late tonight, if anything. It might even be completely dry here for you tonight. Most of the rain's going to be across the other bulk of the Arklatex further up to your north. It's going to be a rainy day, though, tomorrow. One of my big question marks kind of still left, if I had any, is this line of mixed precipitation coming down. How quickly south does it want to go? There's one or two spare future tracks that try to get in mixed precip into Sabine Parish as early as Saturday morning here for tomorrow morning. But this future track, and overall the consensus is, though, which means most models are in agreement, that in Sabine Parish, you're actually hanging tight with rain throughout most of the day on Saturday, as seen here. And then, again, as I keep stressing out, everybody still ends up with the wintry precip. Everybody around the Arklatex still ends up with the winter precip Sunday morning. Everybody, and including Sabine Parish. That's kind of the bullseye to watch out for. Especially for the Arklatex. In fact, the National Weather Service has pinpointed that our last little round on Sunday morning could even contain the chance for thunder. Thunder with wintry precip. Yeah, which would mean it has the most energy and is the most intense, getting us the most amount of mixed precipitation at a time and the most intense, heavier mixed precip showers out of the entire weekend. It would come Sunday morning, and it would come through the entire Arklatex. So that's what I'm expecting here for you. What about Monday? Asked Maurice. Great question. So first of all, since I'm on the future track here for you, snow and mixed precip ends midday Sunday. It is not coming back on Monday. Monday is still a first alert weather day, though, mainly because the high temperature on Monday is 34 degrees. Now, it's going to be completely sunny Monday. It's going to be a great day. Is it a great day to get out? No. Why? Because the ice and the snow, I'm not sure if you've tried to get rid of ice or snow, but it is incredibly to do it based on manpower, okay? You basically have to wait for, I wouldn't say you basically have to wait, but it is so much easier if the atmosphere just melts the ice and the snow away itself, rather than it being a long, excruciating process, even for government officials and government employees to clean up, essentially. So with a high of only 34 on Monday, the point is we're barely going to be above the freezing mark on Monday. So most of that winter precip is going to stay in place on the roadways, make it incredibly hazardous here for you. So that's why Monday is still a first alert weather day. It's going to be beautiful outside, plenty of sunshine, still going to be cold, especially Monday morning. This is what you're waking up to on Monday morning. Keep in mind that as well. You don't even want to head out to that anyways. So that's what we're worried about here for Monday. It's just the extreme cold and the mixed precip still being stuck to the roadways. So, great question. I will leave this, in fact, I will leave this up because that's the actual temperatures on Monday. These are the feels like temperatures here for Monday morning. Wild. Single digits, both for positive and negative. Panola in purple and blue. What does all that entail? Asked Caddy. What was the purple and blue? Sorry, I can't see the most recent comments. I'm assuming you are talking about this graphic. Yeah, you are probably. You are in the purple and blue in Panola County. So essentially, you are right here. What I'm trying to entail at is the freezing line. I think it goes far enough south to cover the I-20 corridor for Monday, and just a little bit south of that here for Saturday morning. but it slows down during the day on Saturday and doesn't progress across the entire Arklatex until Sunday. In fact, here, I'll let you see the latest future track again here to show you what I mean. So Panola County, I'll tailor this just to you guys. Obviously, you're starting with rain only for Friday night, but once you get into Saturday morning, you'll see the freezing line, and it looks like actually by 8 a.m., I guess it does cross across the entire Panola County, but barely. That's the thing. I'm not sure. And the thing to track, if you're going to be tracking onto the radar here all weekend long, is to track where that freezing line is. Obviously, this is a future track. One of the hardest things to forecast in all of weather forecasting period is different precipitation types, especially when you're transitioning from rain over into freezing rain. Where is that exact line happening? It's so difficult to entail. It's so difficult for our future tracks to entail. What I'm getting at is definitely for the I-20 corridor by Saturday morning, you're all in the freezing rain. And this covers, again, the majority of the Arklatex, including barely Panola County, technically. So I think by Saturday morning, you need to stay in place. But this barely includes DeSoto Parish, Red River Parish, kind of on the verge. But if you notice, again, spots like Natchitoches and Nacogdoches could theoretically, according with this future track, if this freezing line really stays where it is throughout the day on Saturday, if it stays where it is, then you would just have a rainy day across the southern edge of the Arklatex only throughout Saturday. But by Sunday morning, it's all freezing rain. See what I'm saying? All right. Hopefully that answered your question. Hunters, no, that's not what that's not what that graphic mean. Jack, thank you. You're welcome. Absolutely. Remember some Coshada. I will. Hey, take it easy out in Coshada here through the weekend, all right? I'm trying to see if I can stay home Monday. Honestly, Raven, I hope you do stay home on Monday. That's the point. All of this is going to be stuck here. It's not going to rain. There's not going to be any precipitation on Monday, but you're going to be stuck with the ice on the roadways. You're not going to want to travel on that. You're not going to be out there in the bitter cold on Monday. Like, there's cold weather, and then there's this kind of cold weather, okay? Brayson, how long could roads be closed going into next week? Great question. I love questions like this. Anyways, for your question. So once mixed precip falls on top of your location, it's going to take just a few hours for the roads to completely get enough ice accumulation to ice over. And once that happens, obviously roads are probably going to shut down, which most of that process happens throughout the day on Saturday. So let's say Saturday midday is when most of the roads could be closed. Again, this is just a theoretical scenario, which I could see happen. If they close midday Saturday, they're not reopening on Sunday. Let's get that first and foremost. So one day, that's one day of at least being the roads being closed. If it's still, continuing to get more ice, we're not reopening the roads until things clear out. Things clear out at the earliest on midday Sunday. But here's the big problem. Again, why we have our first alert weather day on Monday, as discussed earlier, is that Monday does not get warm. We only have temperatures barely reaching above the freezing mark, which means most of the ice and most of the snow stay stuck on Monday. That's now 2 days of maybe the roads being closed between Saturday and Sunday, 1, and Sunday to Monday, 2. It's not until Tuesday afternoon. You see that high of 45 degrees. Highs are going to be in the lower 50s again also for Wednesday. I'm expecting roads to start to pick up and be a lot more open more towards Tuesday and Wednesday. But at that point, Saturday to Sunday, 1 day, roads being closed. Sunday and Monday, 2 days of being closed. Monday to Tuesday, 3 days. 3 days. Somewhere around that time frame of roads being consecutively closed. This is why this is a major impact. And this is why why we want you to keep your weather aware here through the weekend, especially with this huge system intact. All right. Hopefully that answers your question, but great question. What about Red River Parish? Asked Jack. So Red River Parish, watching out mainly on Saturday. I'd go Saturday morning. Just be careful. Go ahead and just be in place if you're in Red River Parish Saturday morning. If you're getting rain, it would be Friday night, late night. But then you see that freezing line coming on down, Red River Parish. Somewhere, it looks like throughout the day that freezing line kind of just stays back and forth on the Red River Parish. But just take precaution above all else, okay? Especially with this kind of a system, all right? Please. Saturday morning. Just be ready. And what I mean by be ready is be in your place that you are going to stay at through the weekend. Okay. Ali, you are welcome. Absolutely. Lisa, will I-20 close? Now, based on what I've gathered from roadways around here, is I-20 is usually the last thing to shut down. They'll shut down local roads first. They'll shut down I-49, and they'll shut down I-20 kind of last. Mainly because it's a major highway that goes in various spots around the Arklatex. Now, I will say this. Second I-20 gets any kind of accident, then it's probably shutting down for good, especially if it's due to weather, a major one at that. Hopefully that does not happen, and they close it before a major accident happens first and foremost. So will it close? I think it could, especially with how much accumulation of ice is going to show up on the roadways. So I would watch out for that, and I'll watch out for it. I just, again, would stay in your place starting Saturday morning and not go out anywhere. Chantel, I know for a fact that 49 will be the first to close. Yep. That's what I just discussed. I think 49 and local ones are going to close first. All right. Chris, how is Marshall looking? Marshall, we'll go back in the future track. I think same thing as for everything around the I-20 corridor. For Friday night, if you look at this, Friday, technically this is tonight around 11 o'clock midnight. You see Marshall still underneath the rain. So, again, you should be fine across East Texas even going out tonight, as long as it's not way late tonight, because, again, you make that transition over to freezing rain once you get into the overnight hours, and certainly, again, by tomorrow morning, everybody, excuse me, I shouldn't say everybody, but the majority of the Arklatex is under the freezing rain here by first thing tomorrow morning. So would it, Therese, I'm so sorry if I did not pronounce your name right, but would it be ideal for schools to cancel classes on Monday? Yes. Yes, it would. We've gotten, on the news side, a couple schools have already said they're going to monitor this over the weekend and make the decision on the weekend itself based on what they see out there, and they're going to make that determination on before Monday if schools are going to be canceled or not. But as of right now, yes, it's looking like schools will be canceled on Monday. Honestly, schools might be even canceled Tuesday. As I said on Monday, Monday isn't going to get warm enough to be able to melt out the ice or the snow. So how are you supposed to wake up on a cold day on Tuesday and expect to get out there when Monday didn't do its job? See what I'm saying? So it might even go into Tuesday, too, before really getting back into the swing of things in the middle of next week. All right. Amber, I just talked about Marshall. Again, Saturday morning. Watch out for that. Ice accumulation for Sabine Parish, Dalton. Hey, I talked about Sabine Parish a little bit earlier. Sabine Parish, I'd watch out for mostly Sunday morning. That's kind of my target frame to watch out for winter precip. It's still going to be rainy, though, all day long on Saturday. Why would you want to go out and just consistent rain showers, you know, that kind of vibe? If you need to travel and still go out Saturday, I think you'd be okay. But Sunday, morning hours, watch out. That's the big bullseye for you to watch out. And if you're specifically asking about ice accumulation values, everybody around the Arklatex is, again, getting around a half an inch, if not more. So it's going to affect everybody around the region. Nobody is excluded from this. How much ice is Bossier looking at? There you go. You're looking at pretty much a half an inch. Shreveport, Bossier, it's pretty much tucked into the same piece, okay? So that's what we're expecting. What do you think about the power outage, and when do I expect this to happen? Power outages. So power outages, based on what I've seen from, and I've kind of looked based on recent weather events that have happened. How much ice accumulation does it take for power outages to happen? It's usually somewhere between 1/4 of an inch to a half an inch. So as you saw around the entire Arklatex, everybody's at least getting a half an inch of ice, which means power outages, I would call them likely. I would not call them an absolute for certain going to happen, but I would call them likely. Hope that makes sense. Where it affects a good portion of the Arklatex, especially with everybody, again, accumulating ice. Now, when are you accumulating ice? For the I-30 corridor northward, that starts tonight. So you could start even running into power outage problems as early as tonight. Meanwhile, the bulk of the Arklatex gets their ice accumulation starting up on Saturday, which means I think any time during the day on Saturday, that power could go out a little bit. Sunday morning, it holds out into Nacogdoches, and Nacogdoches waits to get down there. not until, again, Sunday morning. But even then, the power outages could still be possible across the southern edge. It would just be later on in the weekend, not until Sunday, essentially. Hopefully that answers your question. All right. Whew, I got through all the Facebook questions. I went back to YouTube. I see YouTube. YouTube. Is it going to sleet? Hey, Evan, we will be watching over here. Thank you. We want to be at home from work here. Yes. Work from home, if you can, especially. Is it going to sleet? Yes. Sleet is going to be included with the ice and the freezing rain. That's a good question, but all that's kind of mixed in throughout the Arklatex here for you. So it will sleet. It will be extremely slippery. All roadways. Watch out for that. All right. It is 11:20. I've gone over all comments, all questions. I'm going to end the stream. Thank you very much for watching this First Alert Weather Breakdown edition. First Alert Weather Day. I really appreciate it here at this hour. I believe our Facebook stream just went out for some reason. But for those of you watching on KSLA.com and on our YouTube live stream, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. We will have our next update for the weather updates with meteorologist Jake Lambright. He will be on the noon show, and that's going to be coming up in about 40 minutes. Again, we are providing constant updates here for you throughout the First Alert Weather Days with all 4 meteorologists here at the KSLA News 12 First Alert Weather team. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe. Again, get into your safe spot, especially by tonight. I would say by this afternoon for areas of the northern half of the Arklatex. For all the region, just go ahead and stay on tight once you get into late Friday night. Stay in place here through the weekend, and we can get through this together. All right? Have a good one. See y'all later, and have a great weekend. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Evan Thomason. Be there. Be square. Most importantly, stay weather aware. Again, that's tailored to our next weather podcast, which will be on Monday at 10:30. I don't know who your host will be at that point, but stay weather aware here throughout this weekend here with us at KSLA News 12. Have a great rest of your day. See ya.